Hello fellow cine enthusiasts, my name is Christina and welcome to another Let's Get Reelz movie review. Today is Classic Movie Thursdays here on my channel, my version of Throwback Thursdays. Today's movie I will be reviewing for you is The Lady Eve from 1941, starring Barbara Stanwyck and Henry Fonda, and written and directed by Preston Sturges. The Lady Eve begins with Charles, played by Henry Fonda. He is coming back from a year-long expedition in the Amazon in South America. He studies snakes. So the way he gets back is by like this small steamship, and then he gets on like this big ocean liner, and everybody, all the women are falling like head over heels for him. They know who he is. Charles Pike, his father, owns Pike Ale. It's a big like ale company, and all the women know that he's like super rich, and they're all trying to impress him. Also on the ship is Jean Harrington, played by Barbara Stanwyck, and her father. Both of them are card sharks. They love like conning people. They're both like grifters. That's how they make their money, them and another person. So immediately Jean knows who he is. She sees that everybody's making a fuss. She's the only one that plays it cool, and really does happen to ensnare Charles in her web. And oh my goodness, does she get him good. Like, she can see right away like that he's just totally enamored with her, and he even says in one scene that is like beyond sexy, like Barbara Stanwyck in this scene, oh god, she's just so beautiful, she's so sexy. She gets Charles by tripping him and saying that, oh, you broke my heel, like, oh, come and help me put on another pair of shoes. So she can see that in her room while they're putting on a new pair of shoes, that he's all flustered, and he's like, I haven't seen a woman in a year, I've been in the Amazon for a year. And he's like all about her perfume and everything, and he like falls in love with her immediately. She falls in love with him, and on the ship he like proposes to her. They like barely know each other, and he proposes to her. So she wants to tell him that her and her father are card sharks, but he happens to find out from his minder that he has this guy like watches over him. I guess he's kind of like his security or something. And he's like, oh yeah, here, your very lovely fiance that you want to marry is a card shark with her father, and they are like well-known card sharks, and they go by different names. So that breaks Charles's heart. He breaks things off with Jean. And once they get back to New York, Jean vows to take her revenge on Charles. And the way she takes revenge is by posing as another grifter's niece, who this grifter is pretending to be like this, I don't know, some kind of like important British figure where he has a title, and Jean decides to be Lady Eve Sidwich from England, and you know, she like plays up being this English lady, and this guy actually knows Charles's family. He's close with them. He plays bridge with them. That's how he's getting all his money. He's probably like cheating at bridge and everything like that. So they go to a party, and she like seduces Charles. Charles is like, no, I mean, it looks exactly like her, but no, it can't be Jean, it can't be her. And meanwhile his minder's like, hey idiot, it is her. But she manages to get Charles to propose to her, and just things get so crazy. But Jean as herself and Charles do happen to meet again, and yeah, they fall in love. It's a happy little ending. I love The Lady Eve. I think this was one of the first classic movies I ever bought on DVD. I know it was like one of the first Criterions I ever bought, and I didn't even realize that it was a Criterion collection. But there's just something about this movie that is great. I think it's most likely due to Barbara Stanwyck, because that woman, she was a great actress. She was so good in whatever she was given, drama, comedy, anything. She just had this like magnetism. She wasn't drop dead gorgeous, but like her acting was just 1000% on point all the time. And I mean, you saw me before, I was like freaking out, like I cannot like handle Barbara Stanwyck's sexiness in the scene where Jean is having Charles change her shoe. And then there's another scene where I think they're like in his room. No, they're in her room again. And she's sitting on a chair, he's on the floor, and she's just like rubbing his head and just talking to him, and he's like all nervous, and she's just sitting there like all seductive. Oh my god, I can't. It's like, Barbara Stanwyck. Like, I would love to see someone do that kind of scene today. And I think that's what's so appealing about Barbara Stanwyck too, when you go back and watch her today, is that you can see her being an actress today, because she's a tough cookie, and there's just something about her that I think would fit in so well with today's actresses. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what more I can say about Barbara Stanwyck in this movie. She was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful being Jean. She was perfect as being this British lady at the end with this like cute little British accent with like a tinge of a Brooklyn accent. I think that's one of the reasons why I love Barbara Stanwyck so much, is that in all her roles, no matter what kind of role she was doing, she always had her Brooklyn accent, her thick, tough girl Brooklyn accent, and I love that about her so much. Henry Fonda was good. I'm not a gigantic Henry Fonda fan. Like, I think he's okay. He was really good paired up with Barbara Stanwyck. I think they did an excellent job, you know, playing their characters. I think he was great as like this guy who really doesn't have much worldly experience, and he gets all flustered, he's falling all over the place, and it's funny to see Henry Fonda being the one who takes the pratfalls, because, you know, he's always the guy who's like, he's like the everyman, he is always like proper, sophisticated, what have you in his movies that I've seen at least. And this was just cute to see him falling all over the place, all like getting messy and just taking tumbles left and right. It was really good to see him like that. So I enjoyed him a lot in this movie. Preston Sturges, the man is a genius. He knows how to write dialogue. Like, I think he's one of the best writers, one of the best screenwriters, movie writers, one of the best like writer-directors or directors and writers that I have ever seen. Like, his dialogue is just amazing. Like, his scenes that made Barbara Stanwyck very sexy to me, that dialogue is just nuts. It's so good. Like, every piece of dialogue in this movie was so great. It was so perfect. Like, he just really knew how to create good conversations, like conversations that really like not only just suck in the characters around them, but suck in the audience and really get you invested in the story. Preston Sturges was just one of those guys who knew how to create great scenes with dialogue and his direction. He's just amazing. The costumes were by one of my favorite movie designers of all time, Edith Head. Like, they just scream Edith Head costumes that Barbara Stanwyck wears. Like, the square shoulders. You have these elaborate decorations that just look gorgeous. They really added a little something to Barbara Stanwyck, and they're just so eye-catching. Some of them are just so simple that they're so beautiful. I just love the way Edith Head designed dresses for actresses. She was so good at just really tailoring her works to the actresses who wore them. So that was my review of The Lady Eve. If you like this review in any way, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below if you have seen The Lady Eve. What do you think of it? I'd love to discuss this movie with you. And also in the comments, if you have any suggestions for what I should watch next, be them classic movies or new movies. Leave them there, and if I pick your movie and I watch it and I review it, I will give you a shout out. Who doesn't want a shout out in a YouTube video? How awesome would that be? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future Classic Movie Thursdays and other Let's Get Reelz movie reviews. And also hit that bell notification right there, because sometimes my uploading schedule isn't the greatest. So if you hit that bell notification, you will immediately get notified when I do upload. And as always, keep watching movies and stay absolutely fabulous.